Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome out to this morning's Saturday morning workshop. My name's Ferre. I'm sitting here next to my business partner, Swenson, and we're happy that you could join us this morning. We like to hold these every couple months, and we cover different topics related to tax liens, tax deeds, and yeah, we're just happy that you could join us here this morning.
Yeah, we get a lot of new people who will find us either through YouTube videos or our website or some of our free ebooks or trainings that are out there, and essentially want to know a little bit more about what we do. And so that's the reason we hold these about every month or so, about every 30 to 45 days, where we can explain tax sale investing in a live workshop and kind of go over really how this whole investment strategy works.
Yeah, I think there's a lot that goes into it, and I think that also, the people that are learning about it are a particularly dedicated bunch, that really want to get it down, and I don't think they're willing to walk away from it, and we tend to attract and find those people that seem like they're pretty serious about it.
Yeah, absolutely. For those people that don't know really kind of mine and Shade's history, a little bit about us. We started attending our first tax sale in 1999, 2000, kind of the turn of the century there.
Well, yeah, we grew up right close to each other. We were second cousins basically, and so we started palling around third grade or so, and yeah, I guess it was while you're working as a real estate agent. I think it was the first chance you got was the Utah tax deed auction.
Yeah, exactly. My broker invited me to come out to the tax sale, and at that time, real estate in this area was just going crazy. And so to be able to see real estate, sell for less than market value and for discounted cost was just amazing to me. I hadn't heard of that strategy. I knew about general mortgage foreclosures as a real estate agent, but I didn't really know too much about these tax sales. And so that's what first kind of piqued our interest, and we started learning more about it. We started working, so over the next couple of years, we tried to find information about it, but at that time, it was really hard to find information. There was a couple of books out there, and really seemed like the people that had the knowledge were different seminar and training companies. And so that's essentially what we started doing, and started working for these companies in 2003.
Well, we were in our early 20s, and we were trying to figure out this investment, and we had basically bought all of the books and programs we could find, and there were several seminar companies that were right there that were in Utah, and our brilliant idea was that we were going to go and work for these companies in order to get access to their training materials, and then with their training materials we would get rich. We would learn how to do it all, and it would all be worth it. We could just leave the job. But what we basically found, though, when we worked with these different companies and then got access to the programs rather than paying for them, well, we realized that they were just junk. That literally the people that even wrote them didn't understand what they were talking about.
Yeah, they were real estate training manuals, kind of fluffed over with bits and information about tax sale investing, and it really kind of was more confusing than actually educational. And that's where around 2003, 2004, we started putting together the idea of creating a home study program. So over the next 2 or 3 years, we started compiling information from each one of the states and started putting all this information in big binders, with information on each state, the laws, any information we could find. And, over the period of the next few years, we essentially started creating our home study program, which we essentially started putting out around 2006, 2007. And started offering to seminar companies.
Yeah, at the time we were basically just private labeling our training materials for large seminar companies. So, we would let them, label it any way they wanted, and we would basically provide the fulfillment. So we were kind of in the background for a long time with it. But at the same time, though, I think we wanted to be able to. One of the things we didn't like about that was this so small of a portion of the money I think that people were paying was actually going towards their training or education. So one thing that always drove us crazy, and we wanted more control over that. We also wanted to we wanted more control over what we could teach and what we could charge people, and we wanted to be able to offer people an actually like a good deal. And so we really kind of broke off from any of the seminar companies around then, and started just kind of doing it on our own directly to the public, which allowed us to kind of cut them out and offer prices that would be reasonable, which is normally not something you find with training. But the information is all out there. It's something that, it's stuff that people can learn. I think, and there's no reason why we should have to charge quite so much for it, because in reality, that's not going to be the difference between you being successful and you not being successful.
Yeah, so instead of offering it in big book forms and some fancy kit that you're going to spend $2,000 to $4,000, we essentially just created tax self-support where students could get access to our list and all of the training that people paid thousands of dollars for on a monthly basis, for essentially about $1 a day.
Yeah, so some things about us are pretty different. We're pretty honest and straightforward. We're definitely not salespeople. Steve and I are about the opposite of sales. Fortunately, we've got Tom to help us now, because that's just not how we think. We're more teachers with it than we are, working in the sales department. But really though, since that time though, I think it has been incredible. Being able to work directly with people has been awesome. We've been able to help so many people, and on top of that, we also started doing personal coaching a few years back, and we basically started working with people that didn't have a lot of money. A lot of our students, were starting off with like a couple $1,000s or less than $5.
Yeah.
A lot of them, and so there are people that really couldn't afford to make mistakes, and really they didn't have, according to most programs, they'd probably say you didn't have enough money to even invest. But
that's part of the reason we wanted to show this example here. Is that yes, tax sale investing does take money up front, and especially if you're bidding at auctions on nice homes, there's going to be some competition, but you can get started with tax sale investing for very little. Shade's first lien was $67, mine was $120, and here's an opportunity where one of our coaching students was able to pick up this deed for $100, and you can see that it's just an average building lot. It's got good size, and it had an assessed value of around 10 grand. Well, they picked that up and put it on the market, and about 30 days later, they were able to sell it for an offer of $2,800. So $2,700 profit isn't life-changing money, but if you were to take a $100 investment and say, hey, in 30 days you're going to be able to make $2,800, there's probably not a person in the world that wouldn't make that $100 investment, especially if you're only spending minimal time into the investment.
Oh yeah. Well, so one of the things that Steve and I are really big on is we are all about the price that you actually pay for the properties, and so we're looking for the best bargains that are out there, and tax sale properties are, by nature a great bargain, but sometimes we can find even better deals where counties will accept less than the taxes that are owed. And if we can find that, then we can get property for crazy prices, kind of like this. And we've actually had a lot of our coaching students that have kind of gone through this process of buying cheap properties for $100, $200, and have sold them, all of them.
Yeah.
And at the same time, though, they're learning the process of buying and selling without risking large amounts of capital.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the point of it, is we take on, we have several different members. We have our membership program. We also have our coaching program. But with our coaching program, if we take a student through doing one of these type of deals, they're able to learn all of that information about buying, selling, evaluating, transferring deeds, all of that's included within that. Without taking a lot of risk financially with a high profit margin. And then once they're able to do that, then obviously doing the next deal or bidding at the auction or looking at structured properties or something like that is going to be that much easier because they understand the basics so well.
Yeah, in fact, it's incredible. It is a fairly inexpensive way that you can educate yourself and learn by going with some of these cheaper properties. But what we really like to do is we like to go through lists, and we like to see what's out there and what's available, and we like to be able to show that kind of thing to you. We like to be able to show you what is going on with tax sales right now, what kinds of properties are currently available, what's selling. And so the session today, we're actually going to try to dedicate the majority of the time here towards that. But before we just dive into that and go straight into the searching we're going to do here through the live sales, let's just talk for a second. For any of you that don't know as much, let's talk about tax liens and deeds for a second. So why bother with tax liens and deeds? I think if we were to put it under the most blunt terms, I think the safest way to earn high interest rate returns consistently. I mean, I don't know that there's anything else that quite compares to it. If you're comparing interest rates and the level of security, there's nothing even really close. It's the cheapest way to acquire property in the US.
Yeah.
It's just hands down cheapest way. You're not going to find a cheaper way than this, and we'll explain to you as we go into it exactly why that is. Beyond that though, county website records and other internet tools make online investing possible now. So you can actually do it from home now. Which is something that didn't even exist, 20 years ago.
And in fact, 90% of the properties that we purchase sight unseen.
Yeah.
So
purchase them sight unseen. You can sell them sight unseen. It's one of the amazing things about the internet today and what we can do with properties, especially if you're buying raw land. We're fanatics about raw land.
Yeah, exactly. Another point about this investment strategy is it's enforced by state and county laws. So, when we're talking about a tax lien certificate, the property itself is acting as collateral for the lien or the loan that we're paying the county. And so essentially, the real estate acts as collateral and it's completely backed by years worth of government law. That's the reason why tax sale investing is such a safe investment, is because first of all, the property acts as the collateral, plus it's backed by 20, 30, 50, 100 years of state law.
Yeah, precedent basically, and property taxes. It's also a government entity, and counties are not the type to let, like any other government entity, they're not just going to forget about something like property taxes. It's the primary source of revenue. Yeah,
absolutely. They're also not going to be subject to the market
fluctuations.
Yeah, exactly. So essentially, when it comes to tax sale investing, every single month or if it's on a yearly basis, there's going to be tax sale properties. We've been doing this for 20 years, and even though we've seen maybe more properties come onto the market at certain times or less properties, it's always consistent.
Yeah. I mean, it is as consistent as property taxes are. People are always going to, there's always going to be people that are late with property taxes. There are always going to be people that don't pay it. And the system is really made to work like this. In fact, it's amazing just how well the system works, because the reality is not that many people in America lose their properties due to delinquent property taxes.
Yeah, there's tons of safeguards in place that essentially usually it's going to take anywhere between 3 to 5 years of being delinquent and getting notices before that property is going to go through any type of foreclosure.
Yeah, it's generally a fairly long and drawn out process. Well, one of the things we struggled with the most in the beginning was just trying to understand how things worked from state to state to state, because that was one thing we realized, was that it was all governed by state laws, and every state has its own set of laws that control different things, like, for instance, foreclosure and how that operates. And so that was a really confusing thing in the beginning, because, there were certificates, there were deeds, it just didn't really make a lot of sense. What we were eventually able to understand was that there were essentially 3 systems that were used throughout the United States, and that the majority of the states out there used just one of these 3 systems. There were a couple of states that were kind of weird and used more than one system, but for the most part, if you understood these 3 systems, you would understand how tax sale enforcement, or how property tax enforcement worked in every state. And so they're tax lien certificates, tax deeds. You could call them tax deed foreclosures too, if you wanted. They're also redemption deeds.
Yeah.
Oh, So let's talk first for just briefly about what exactly a tax lien is, because this is one of the common systems. I think to really understand the lien, though, you have to understand liens in general and how they work. Like, for instance, mechanics liens. If you have a painter that comes and performs paint on your house, or heating, air conditioning people as you're building your house, come out and do that. If you have a contract that doesn't get paid, they can actually go to the county and they can have a lien, a mechanics lien, placed against your property. And that lien prevents you from being able to close on the property. So if it's a house you're building, then what would happen is about the time the construction is trying to wrap up and you're trying to close on the property, you're not going to be able to do that because you've got this lien against the property, this mechanics lien. Liens prevent the transfer of ownership. So you can't sell a property that has a lien against it. And that's just a standard mechanics lien for a delinquent, debt that needed to be paid. When it comes to the county and property taxes, they are, they've got a lot of power there to enforce property taxes. And what they use are, instead of a mechanics lien, they have a tax lien, which is actually even more, it has greater power.
Yeah, it's a first position lien, which means that it's going to go above any other type of liens on the property. So mechanics liens, mortgages, anything like that. The most important thing that has to get paid if the property owner is going to change hands or sell it or anything like that is going to be that tax lien certificate. Also, what that tax lien certificate does is, essentially what we're doing is we're paying the debt on that tax lien. So if a property owner doesn't pay their property taxes for a year, the county needs that money. And so what they'll do is they'll create a lien, like Shade said, place it against the property, and then offer that lien to investors. And so the investors that are willing to purchase that lien, take on that debt, essentially are going to be earning or given an interest rate return for paying that debt.
Yeah, and the interest rate return will be set, but the amount that they'll earn is dependent upon the duration of the investment. And there are two different things that can control the duration of the investment. The first is when the property owner pays it off, okay? And that's unpredictable. We don't really know when that's going to happen. It could happen very fast. It could happen in ways, but it's actually reliant on the second factor, and that is every single tax lien is sold with a redemption period attached to it. And the redemption period is the waiting period required there for the lien holder before they can take action with the lien. So basically what it means is that it's actually very simple most of the time. When property owner redeems, they pay off the county removes the lien, and they basically send a check to you in the mail.
Yeah, exactly. So tax liens are either going to earn you're going to earn a high interest rate return, and the lien is also going to give a time frame or a redemption period that the property owner has to pay that property tax back. So usually it's going to range anywhere from 1 to 4 years or so on average. Usually it's a couple of years, where the property owner has that time frame to essentially pay you back. But if they don't pay you back within the end of that redemption period, that tax lien certificate has foreclosure rights, meaning that if they don't pay you back, you can actually foreclose on the property and become the new owner of the property because of that tax lien certificate.
Yeah, I mean, really, it's as simple as that. You're either going to end up getting a check in the mail, or you're going to end up with foreclosure rights on the property. But that's basically how liens are meant to work. And the vast majority, 95% plus of liens redeem. It's how they're supposed to work. It's supposed to be a way for the county to get the money it needs to operate without taking a home away from somebody. It's a way for them to be able to sell something immediately, like this lien, and be able to get that money that they need in order to operate. But for investors, it represents a really safe and awesome investment, an easy way to earn 14, 16, 18% on your money and to have it be highly secured. And what we mean by that is, if you look at the lien amounts here on these compared to the property value, it's almost, it's a tiny percentage. I mean, it's not even 5%. It's less than that. It's a couple percent.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you're looking at a $379 lien on a $55,000 property, or even, a $1,500 lien on a $90,000 property. Essentially, is your money going to be protected? Is that $1,400, $1,500 going to be protected by that $90,000 property? And the answer is yes. best case scenario or worst case scenario, I guess how you look at it, the property owner is going to go ahead and pay you back. And like Shade said, they can pay you back anytime within the redemption period. So if these tax liens had a 2-year redemption period, they could pay back 6 months later, they could pay back a year later. But once they hit that 2-year mark, if they haven't paid back, then essentially we can go ahead and initiate the foreclosure, which will go ahead and take it through the foreclosure process. The property owner can still pay it back during that time, but once the foreclosure is finished, the property owner hasn't paid, will actually become the new owner of the property.
Yeah, so with tax liens, your primary objective is to earn a high interest rate return safely. Okay, you're basically looking for a safe way to be able to earn that 16 or 18% on your money. It's the type of investment, it's a long-term investment generally, one that you look at would be between 2 to 4 years on average probably. But it's the type of investment that you're going to use long-term funds with, like retirement funds. In other words, this is tax liens are like an alternative to the stock market or any other long-term investment that doesn't have, well, I think it has about the same degree of liquidity probably that the stock market does, in terms of, there's good times to buy and get out. So it's a great investment, I think, for people that are looking to earn that high interest rate return that aren't comfortable with the stock market and would rather have their money secured by real estate.
No, absolutely. Well, not only that, but what your set interest rate is before you're purchasing it. Mm-hmm. The only thing we don't know is how long it's going to be held for. Yeah. So when we buy the tax lien, we know it's 14% or 18% or whatever it is, and we're going to be earning 14% a month until that tax lien redeems. And when it does redeem, essentially we'll get back our money and our interest rate return and then reinvest it.
Yeah, so part of the reason why banks have always loved to buy, because they're such easy investments. They don't have to do anything. They know that they're all good investments. They just buy them up all, and they know that most of them are just going to result in a check in the mail.
Yeah.
And so that's part of the reason why they've always sat back and been able to do really well on them. Now, some of you may be more interested in trying to acquire property. And if acquiring property is what you're after, then tax liens are not what you want to look into, because tax liens are really not about acquiring property. They're about earning that high interest rate return. Tax deeds are about acquiring property. That's our second system that we're talking about here. And I love tax deeds. I think they're a very simple system, because basically what happens is the state law just sets a redemption period, and that represents the time period that the property owner has. So the county will try to collect that money, but that redemption period is basically ticking away. So when it comes to an end, let's say it's 3 years, well, after 3 years of trying to collect the property taxes, the county will simply foreclose on the property and will offer it up at auction to collect the delinquent funds, and they'll start the bidding off at what's owed in taxes and fees.
Yeah, in tax deed states, instead of issuing liens like they would in a tax lien state, the county just holds the debt. The county just essentially holds that debt until that redemption period has come up. Then, like Shade mentioned, they'll go ahead and foreclose on the property. They'll go ahead and create what's either a tax deed or a quitclaim deed or a sheriff's deed or something like that, and they'll go ahead and offer that deed at the public auction. So whoever's willing to essentially pay the delinquent taxes, penalties, and fees, depending on the auction format, can become the new owner of the property.
Yeah. Now, here's why tax deeds are the absolute cheapest way that you can buy property in the United States. The reason why there's not really a wholesale market for real estate, if you go out there and look, you can't really find much wholesale real estate, period. And that's because nobody ever normally sells it for wholesale prices, because that's money out of their pocket. Why would they do that, right? Well, that other party, having that party that owns the property that doesn't want to lose money, that is part of what basically controls the prices on properties. People don't want to give up their profit or their money on real estate, and traditionally, in most cases, they don't really have to. They're able to sell their properties for pretty much full market value, and there's not necessarily a lot of discounting that that really goes on. However, when we have these tax deed properties, something different happens here, and that is that the properties are foreclosed on, and it's not a bank foreclosure. That's not even a real foreclosure, to be honest with you. Bank foreclosures are actually, they're just, you actually waived your rights to a true foreclosure when you signed your mortgage contract. Okay. The real foreclosure, the judicial foreclosure, is what these properties go through, when they're being foreclosed on by the county, and it's a powerful foreclosure that wipes out anything that is attached to the property. But what most importantly happens, though, is the county becomes the owner of the property, and the county is a government, and they don't. Basically, they're going to open up the bidding at what's owed in delinquent taxes, penalties, and fees.
Yeah, they can't make profit off of it.
Yeah. In fact,
that's would be against their directive or whatever.
Well, yeah, they're not allowed. Yeah, they're not. They're not a for-profit entity. They're trying to make money on that. What they're trying to do is just collect the money that's owed to them. Basically, it's a collection effort. And so,
in fact, any of that money that's called the overbid. So if the auction starts at $10,000, for the opening bid, and it sells for $15,000, that additional $5,000 is called the overbid, and that can be given back to the property owner if there's no other debts like mortgages or liens that need to be paid first.
Yeah, some places might call it the surplus.
Yeah, surplus.
Or
overage.
Yeah, overage. But essentially, it just sits in an account for that owner until the owner can collect it. The county only takes what's owed to them. So the bottom line is that beyond what's owed in taxes and fees, the county has no interest in what it sells for. And that is the one thing that makes tax deeds unique to any other kind of real estate that you're going to find, is that it's the only form of real estate investing you're going to find where the party selling the property doesn't care what it sells for. And that's where we have this amazing opportunity, and that's why the price is such a big deal to us.
Yeah, when you're buying tax deeds, the key to remember, this is real estate investing.
Yeah, you're just buying properties that have been foreclosed on.
Yeah, exactly. Here's some tax deed examples done by some of our coaching students recently. You can see that top deal was a big 27-acre piece that one of our coachings picked up. That's actually in New York. That they're going to be taking that process through quiet title and hopefully developing it. But you can see that, just as is, there's $250,000, $260,000, $70,000 worth of potential profit in that deal.
Yeah, incredible amount of profit in that deal. They also come in all different prices. We've got the one right next to it is a little commercial parking lot. Basically, it was about a quarter or third of an acre, right around there, but it was in a good part. It's kind of the busy part of town, Main Street area there, and certainly had use. Yeah, and it had high value. It was valued at $22,000. It was available for $1,800. At the time, and I know Michael ended up selling that with seller financing as well. For $12,000. And has done really well on it.
Yeah, there's a couple of deals down below. Where one of our students were able to pick up one of these $100 properties. Another little property picked up for $2,500. I think it was 3.1 acres, so it was a good piece of land. Essentially, there's all different types of deals. When we first get started with our coaching students, usually we'll start with land unless they live within an auction area that they can actually go out and view the structured properties.
Starting with raw land is going to help you out in a lot of ways. Really, when it comes to improvements, the improvements themselves are the biggest risk that you face, because it's really about the condition of the improvements once there are improvements that are involved, and you've got to have somebody there on site that can take images, and it complicates a lot of things, especially for an out-of-state investor. But if we're dealing with raw land, well, there's so many advantages. First off, it's the most overlooked. Raw land is constantly overlooked because everybody's looking at the properties with improvements. So it gets overlooked all the time. It's less competitive with the bidding, but also as an out-of-state investor, you don't have to worry about the land changing.
Yeah. In fact, we're going to be going to look at here some live auctions here coming up pretty quick.
Yeah. In fact, just a second here. Redemption deeds are kind of they're the third system. There's only a couple of states that use them.
Yeah, these are going to be like hybrid. Texas, Georgia. They're really similar to tax liens and tax deeds. They're kind of a hybrid of both. What redemption deeds is, they're more similar to a tax deed, but they have a redemption period attached to them, kind of like a tax lien certificate. Now, redemption deeds usually have shorter redemption periods. Most of them are from 2 months, 6 months, and a year. There is cases like homestead properties in Texas that 2 years, but most of them are shorter. Most of them are under a year, where tax lien certificates have longer redemption periods, but also redemption deeds also play a flat return versus a annual return like a tax lien certificate.
Yeah, they pay out a flat rate, which isn't
Penalty
dependent
rate.
upon time. Yeah, it's basically just a flat rate that is, if the property redeems, here's the amount that that it will take here. Let's see here.
So also with redemption deeds, some ownership rights are going to be extended to the deed holder. So like in Texas, for example, if you buy a property there at the auction, let's say it's a structured property, you actually have some ownership rights. So you could go ahead and get into the property, rent the property out. You're just not really going to be able to sell the property, and you still have that property owner that can redeem it. So you're not going to want to put a ton of money into it, other than just maintenance and upkeep, where the property owner will have to be responsible for paying for that if they redeem. But the key with redemption deeds is you have a lot higher chance of acquiring the property than you would with a tax lien certificate. With tax liens, 95% of them will pay off and redeem, and you'll never get the property. But with redemption deeds, you might have a more of a 50-50 shot, maybe even higher, of acquiring the property, because it's kind of sold like a tax deed. It just has that redemption period attached to it.
Yeah. So they are a little bit different. They combine aspects, I think, of both of them. But at the same time, though, there are some great opportunities with redemption deeds. Here are some properties that were listed that just with opening bid amounts that are ridiculously low compared to what the properties are valued at. And we see this stuff pretty regularly. A lot of times properties will end up redeeming sometimes right before the sale happens, but sometimes they don't, and they go through the sale, and they will start out with low bid amounts like this, like $3,000 to $5,000 for homes.
Yeah, exactly. And what'll happen is it'll start out as that opening bid amount, and then who's ever willing to essentially be the high bidder will win the property, similar to a tax deed.
Yeah. So we pretty much got through the stuff here that we wanted to get through. We're gonna go out there and look at some of the auctions right now. Now, with that in mind, there are 3 ways that you can invest. Okay, it's either going to be, and really it's 2 ways. You can either do it by auction or over the counter. But with auctions, we've got the opportunity now for live and online auctions. But basically, if you're going to be buying either liens or deeds, it's either going to be from some form of auction or over the counter, which basically that just means after the sale directly from the county. So,
leftover.
The leftover stuff directly from the county, you're not competing against anybody directly, so you can pick up from their inventory for what's owed. All right, so we're going to open this up now, and we're going to visit some different. Let's go and take a look at what's happening with tax sales. Maybe we'll start with we can start on tax sale support. Let me get this. There we go. Let me just make sure that looks correctly. And also, you guys can ask questions at any point there if you guys have any questions.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, looks like that is working properly. Okay, so we want to take some time to check out some different auctions that are taking place. Maybe we can look at some of the upcoming opportunities that exist out there. There's definitely a growing number of opportunities. Really, it's only getting easier, really, to find, to be able to participate in these sales.
Yeah, so what we usually do, even if we do this ourselves, we're going to go look at upcoming auctions. We're just going to go use the website. So if we go to the list center, what we might want to do is check out some of the online auctions that are coming up. There's some pretty neat things there. Besides that anyone could participate in that kind of sale versus a live auction, is taking place there at the county courthouse.
Yeah, where you have to be there in person, and so it helps to reduce the competition sometimes. But there's a couple different strategies really that you can employ for trying to get the best deals on properties.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So there's all kinds of online auctions coming up over the well, over the next 30 days, but especially over the next, 3 to 6 months. We're really kind of getting into auction season where, starting at the end of this month, April, May, June, July, August, those are some really big months for tax sale investing. So we have auctions taking place in California we could check out. What do you think?
Yeah, there are actually there are several interesting sales, that are taking place here.
Yeah, I think Alameda is in that's the Oakland area. We were looking at Kern County a little earlier.
Kern County has a humongous
Massive
sale.
sale.
I mean, there are 1,400 properties. It's too late to register for the auction now, so but we've actually got somebody that's participating in that.
One
We're
of our
doing research on.
Is...
But yeah, we ought to take a look at that, because that with 1,400 tax deed properties being offered, that's a huge number. Even for an online auction, it's a huge number, enough so that there will be a lot of properties that will slip through the cracks.
Yeah, definitely. And there'll also be properties that you're going to want to avoid as well in looking through the Kern County sale. There's some properties seem like certain parts of Kern County, kind of out there in the boonies a bit outside Bakersville,
Yeah, in fact, we can probably find it. Well, I guess that particular county might have more rural area than some of the others. It seems like a lot of times we'll find rural stuff in counties.
Yeah, the point I was making is it's pretty easy to see which properties are going to be junk and which ones are going to be good when you're looking through it. If you see there that the property has an assessed value of $1,000 and maybe the opening bid is $1,500 in back taxes, it's probably going to be a property we're going to avoid.
Yeah, exactly. When you can see a property that's just obviously upside down, or a property that won't work. Now, interesting thing about this one, this is the Alameda sale, but they don't include the assessed value on either the Excel or the the PDF.
Yeah.
So I was looking, and I think the fastest way to get it, as I was looking at it here, is if so the way that the Bid for Assets, they have the auction folders here, and we're going to want to limit a lot of our heavy due diligence until we get closer to the date of the sale, because we could have a lot of these properties that will redeem if the sale's in 2 weeks. You could have a lot of stuff redeem over the next 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But we want to try to get an idea of what's there and what we might be interested in. When I was looking at some of these properties here, we can see basically what the
That was kind of interesting.
Yeah, it has the location there on it.
But it says room 230. That can't. Oh, I wonder if that's the seller. Never mind. I thought that was the I don't think that can't be the property location, is it? Because it says room 209. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we ought to take a look.
How could they sell a room?
I don't know. Let's take a look at the GIS map here on it real quick and see if that tells us really quick how they have a room for sale here on the tax sale list.
I could buy a room.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's like a condo or something.
Open that up. That might help.
At first, I thought that was, I saw that room. I thought, well, usually that's where they have the property address, but I saw that room. I thought, well, maybe that's where they're having the auction. This is an online auction, so they're not going to have it. Look, we could try looking up the address on. They've also got the parcel map there and the GSI.
Yeah, they do. They've got. Let me pull that out of the way here. Oh, there we go. Let me just enter in this one. See where this is at. And once we pull up a map like this, what we're generally going to start trying to look for first is for the base maps section, because that's what's probably going to enable us to.
Maybe not. Oh, the layers is up there. Oh.
For some reason, I don't think that is it here. No.
It may not have it. Usually they do, though. Usually they'll have somewhere, and you're going to have to look for it a bit. Sometimes it'll be underneath layers or maps. And essentially what we're looking for is the satellite image read that we can put over top of it to to get a little bit more information on it. We can at least see here the plat map version, or kind of the subdivision layout, where we can see where the property is located at,
Well, and
streetwise.
yeah, from this, I guess we can get an exact address on it from here, though.
Well, and we have the address also down there.
Oh, here we go, the base map. I think. Oh yeah, there we go. Okay, so yeah, this might be some kind of a
like an office condo,
yeah, or an
small
apartment.
office.
We'd probably have to look and see here. I don't even know if it's listed as residential or if it's listed as commercial, and we really can't see from there. But I'm sure we can probably see pretty quickly with whatever that comes up with here. Yeah, we can see right there. We can see the tax bill on it, and we can see what.
If you click on the property assessment, will it give you anything more?
Yeah, it should. Okay, so it's a condo, commercial retail.
Oh, it's retail.
Yeah,
commercial.
Yeah, commercial retail. The land value is $13,849, and the improvement value on that is $32,315 for a total of $46,000. So that one starts out. I think the current bid on is $18,000, but again, the actual value on that area is probably quite a bit higher than $46,000.
Yeah,
for that.
I would even think even in Oakland, it would get. It's got to be higher than that.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if it was less than 100.
Of course, you go to San Francisco, it's out of. I mean, it's the most expensive, one of the most expensive place in the country.
Yeah. Now, this is a bid for asset style sale, and so it has a certain look to it here. That we can look through. We'll look at Kern County here in a second, and you'll see a different style of online auction. Here's one. This property here, $44,000 is kind of the opening bid, I guess, amount on it. That's the location right there.
Try looking that on. One thing we'll use as well, is Google Maps and also Zillow, to find the property, check out street views, check out neighborhoods with Google, and then also to get an idea, just a quick idea of what the market looks like as well.
Yeah, if we can figure out where a property is at, the Google Maps are always going to be faster than just about any other maps that we get. Plus, we always have the chance to get street side images, which can be really helpful. Yeah, this looks like. Let me just get around
kind
here.
of behind a tree a bit.
Yeah, let me
go up the street a bit.
There we go.
That's not bad.
Yeah, we can see now this image is actually in May of 2018, so it's not that old of an image.
One thing about that property as well is it looks like a duplex to me. You can see how there's doors on either side. So it may not be on Zillow. We'll check because it is.
Yeah, because it's kind of a multi-unit. Yeah, let's see if anything comes up on Zillow for it.
Does. Yeah, look at that.
Oh, they're showing the whole thing, maybe. 8 bedrooms and 2 baths at 4,000 square feet. Do you think that's the whole building?
Yeah, I think that we're looking at the side view. We could go check to see, if we go back here and we go around the street and see what the side of it looks like.
Yeah, they're probably just counting the entire building here.
See how long it is.
Let's see.
Oh, it's big.
Yeah. I wonder if it's the entire house then.
Yeah, it's the entire thing.
Yeah.
Worth $1 million. It's got to be.
Yeah. So okay. Yeah, that makes sense then. It says room something, but in reality,
this was the room. That room one was the other one. This is the house.
Oh, that's right.
Commercial. Yeah, that's the other property.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So that one is essentially $44,000 opening bid.
Yeah.
You're looking at it's definitely probably a fourplex, I would think, with 4 2-bedroom, 1-bath apartments in it. That's my guess. We could check the county records, and there's also tools online. California isn't the best state because they have certain kind of privacy laws for getting county record information, but there's some paid services out there that you can use that will help you get all the additional information on these properties. You can get some of it, but kind of depends on the county.
Oh yeah, this house. Oh, actually, I think, yeah, this is that house. It's kind of interesting.
No, that's the. Is that it?
I think so. I think it's this property right here.
The value looks totally different, though. I think that might be the last one. Maybe not, but it only shows $42,000. 67. That was the same price as the.
Yeah. See the 1527 Myrtle.
Huh.
Kind of weird, huh?
Yeah.
I wonder if they're only
They're only selling one of them.
Yeah, if it's only a part of the building.
They'd have to have condoed it or something like that. You'd think,
Yeah. Let's take a look at Kern County. You guys have got to see this sale. Yeah, which registration is already closed on it, but here it is. Now this is a sale using a different company, a company called Grant Street Group, that conducts auctions, but they have a different look and format, different feel than the other companies that are out there. Let's take a look, and maybe I can zoom in here just a bit. So right here we can see, that they advertised 1,485 properties. They've had 48 cancel, which gives them a total available for sale of 1,437, and that'll be on the 13th. So we've got about a week and a half here until the sale takes place. They've got some images in front of some of the properties. It's the Bakersfield area. So they've got some dwellings there that look like they're pretty hammered. And we can see an opening bid amount. And there's also several different links that we can click on, to pull information from it. Maybe we'll click on one of these first.
That one almost looks like it's got two parcel numbers attached to it.
Yeah. Those are the same. Yeah, it's just the same number repeated here a couple times. They don't really have their map set up here correctly in Kern County, but what they do have, let me erase a couple of these. Erase a bunch of these. Yeah, and what they do have though, is we should be able to grab the address here right there. So, and then this is probably a faster way, or at least since we can't really play with the layers on that map with Kern County, we can at least pull it up on Google Maps. It's a little bit faster way to pull it up here, so that we can see the property. And
one thing to notice is if we look at the street view, we can see that it's in better condition than the photo that they provide. So that photo they provide is probably pretty current from the county.
Yeah. In fact,
that photo right there.
Yeah, that would have to, or it's the back, or it's the back of it too. I don't know. Let's take a look at the front. Let's see what it looks like from here and see how old the image is.
Boarded up always doesn't necessarily mean that that's always a bad thing. They could have easily boarded it up. I mean, usually when they're boarding up a property, they're boarding it up to protect it, to keep people from getting inside of it or.
Yeah, it's a 6-year-old image, so it's not a new image at all. It could definitely be in, that could be the current, condition.
But, as long as the rest of the outside is in good condition, then we don't care about the boarded up, but that's something that we'll check.
Yeah. And we can see here estimated value of 75,000.
With an opening bid of 58.
It's almost upside down, and which some properties are going to be like that when you're dealing with tax sales, because, well, the longer you're delinquent, the higher the amount gets. But also sometimes counties don't want to foreclose on properties, and they end up, I think, letting people.
Giving them extra chances.
Yeah, giving them extra chances.
And then it takes longer.
Yeah, before you know it, it's been 8 or 10 years since you've got property taxes. I think that does happen. On some of these ones too, I think it's going to be the case. The value on these is, I mean, this is only 0.07. It's not going to be worth that.
Yeah, unless there's some type of house that's zoned R4.
Let's see here.
And really, tax sale investing is just a matter of going through and researching, county records. Really, that's our number one skill as a tax sale investor, is the ability to navigate through these county records, researching property records, researching the court records to make sure that there's not, anything that we may need to be aware of, before buying, as far as maybe governmental liens or anything like that. When it comes to tax deeds, like we mentioned earlier, things like mortgages and judgments and mechanics liens or anything like that's going to be essentially no longer applied to the property after going through that judicial foreclosure. But the one thing that can survive would be some type of other governmental lien, like a city nuisance lien or something like that. And so before we buy, we'll always go through and do a check to make sure that there's not any city liens that are on the property, and if there is, we're aware of how much they are and take that into our consideration.
Yeah, in fact, it's really it's a testament to the power of the tax sales and the tax sale properties and the foreclosure that they go through. It wipes out everything attached to the property, even if let's say that there was a mortgage on a property, and for whatever reason, the property taxes aren't getting paid, and the county were to send out foreclosure notices.
It says is a multiple
occupancy home
that contains. I wonder if Zillow is starting to add duplexes. We looked up that one in Oakland and we saw the duplex value. I wonder if they're starting to add duplexes and stuff like that to it.
Yeah, they could be. Yeah, they very well could be.
That one I think that one probably is a duplex.
Yeah, let's see here. So this one at 16,000, we can at least see.
What does the map, the photo look like?
I
wonder if the county's boarding these up. That's newly boarded.
Yeah, it is newly boarded.
Huh. The guts don't. I mean, the outside looks like it could be. It's 16 grand. That could be a deal, though.
Yeah. That one has potential here.
Let's look at that one on Google or something.
I just wanted to see real quick here. So what they're giving a total value there of 28,000, what they're estimating there, 23 for improvements and 5.5 for the land.
It's crazy just how within one state you can look at even Oakland that has lower prices than San Francisco, but looking at $1 million, where Kern are kind of lower.
Yeah.
Still value for value. You still do good deals, but it's just crazy how the same.
Well, California has such crazy fluctuations like that. Yeah, like they've got properties that are valued like lots of other parts of the country, and then suddenly you go into a different area and it's multi-millions of dollars.
Yeah, like one of these homes in San Francisco would be worth $3 million, where here it may be worth 60.
So let's see. So this is a 2015 image on the property here. It must have been before it was, before they boarded it up like this. No, this isn't the IRS one. No, it's down there. But I'm kind of interested to see here. Yeah, at least with that opening bid number, there's potential. The opening bid is about 10% of what the estimated value on the property is. So I think that's about right, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, 16.6. So yeah, it's roughly about 10% of the property's value, roughly. So
if you're able to get it for under 20, you're going to be. It's got a big lot too. You can see it's got that whole side yard, pretty big side yard.
Yeah, it is on a pretty good lot here. Now this particular list. I think you can get this, you can download it. I believe that's what you'd need to do here. I think to work through a list this big is to download some kind of a file like, I don't know, like a PDF or an Excel file, and then start going through it from there. What the heck?
Oh, kind of shut off the.
Yeah, let's see.
one thing we could.
Oh, there we go.
One thing I want to show as well, real quick, as I was looking in Washington, and not all, in fact, the majority you're not going to have it, but sometimes we've seen in Washington, we've seen in Florida, we've seen at times in California, some other states, is that they actually provide you with a title report. And I was looking at one of the Washington sales.
For an online auction?
Yeah, for King, I believe it was. I think it was just a resale, but there was a couple of decent little properties on it.
Yeah, let's take a look here. So it looks like they have.
Oh, this actually might be the wrong sale. Go ahead and go up to the top. Click on like bid for assets, and we'll go back.
We go to county tax sale here, and I think it's a different one.
Yeah, I think it was here in March. King County special sale.
Oh, there we go.
So there's only 6 properties here, but if we go down to the bottom.
Yeah, I started at about 12,000.
You know, but look at these two here. Let's look at that one.
Oh, looks like we got a new member. Okay, let's see here. So this one looks like it opens up at 25,000. And let's see. Oh, there we've got an address on. Let's see the value. So the value on it's good and high. I mean, improvements at 131, land at 122 for a total of 253.
Yeah, but right there.
Oh yeah, here's the title report. You know, that's awfully handy.
Yeah, we have the title report. And so one thing we're going to do with tax deed investments is we're always going to look in to the court records or the clerk records and see if there's any type of governmental liens that could be attached to the property. But here they went ahead and provided us with a title report, which saves us all of that time and money, as well as if we do need to get a title report on a property if we can't get the information we need. But this is pretty helpful in allowing us to properly view what could be against the property and
let's see. You know, there's a residential code notice of violation right there in 2015. Yeah, judgment for the amount. You know, that was probably the foreclosure of their house right there, but that was probably some kind of a nuisance lien or something, right?
Could.
Or I guess it could be violation with
look up the code.
Yeah, let's see here. What else? Unpaid bill. Interesting.
There's no open mortgages or deed of trust.
Yeah.
It actually looks pretty clean.
Yeah.
But, you know, let's go ahead and check out this property and see what it looks like.
Let's do that. Let's see here.
I think the next property is even nicer if I remember right. Could be. Yeah, it is the next. Oh, this is the one I was laughing at, because if you go down and look at if you're looking at the satellite view and you look at this house and you look in the backyard, you can see that we've got a serious hoarder. You know, it looks like that entire backyard. I mean, it looks like there's tarps and I mean, they've got something going on. So this is gonna be the eviction.
Yeah, that would be
the nightmare. You know.
Yeah, that would be a nightmare. Let's see.
But you get it for the value. You know, you're getting a new place in Seattle.
Yeah, let's take a look at this one real quick here.
Yeah, this one was pretty nice.
So this one's at 63,000, and this is where it starts at. We've got an address here on Federal
See the
Way.
assessed values at over $500,000.
Yeah, it's impressive. 402,000 for the improvements and 108,000 for the land, and we've got the title report right there for it. Let's see what it looks like. Let's see if that one will still be available on the sale. That's a really nice property, though.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Anyways, even if it were a mortgage company though, and they received the bill, I mean, basically what's going to happen when the foreclosure notices go out is that the lender, if there was a bank involved or a lender, they're going to get treated just like anybody else will. in that, you know, here's the amount that's owed, here's the amount, you know, and when it needs to be paid by, and if they don't pay it, the mortgage company can get foreclosed on just as easily as you can. Okay, so let's see, it looks like it is this property right here.
Yeah.
What a cute little property here.
Yeah, it's nice.
And probably very valuable.
Well, and looking at a $63,000 opening bid, you know, on these type of properties like this, they tend to have a little bit higher competition.
Hey, look at that. It's only worth.
No, it's from the auction.
I know. But of course, their estimate's not that high compared to what the county says either.
$539, but still, you're looking at $500,000. I mean, even if somebody was to bid this up to $200,000, you would still have $300,000 worth of potential profit.
Yeah. Well, and you can take a different approach when you have properties like this that are newer, improved properties, because you can pay a higher percentage of you know, value. Whereas we may not want to pay more than 10% on a lot of properties, and sometimes far less. On a property like this, you could pay more than that.
Yeah,
you could pay
up to 50 cents on the dollar and still make
you could pay 50% on it, and you know, still have a, you know, highly profitable deal. You know, so yeah, there are a ton of opportunities, and these are just the online
for higher
options.
quality properties like this. In you know, this is within.
Yeah, you're
I'm sure
have
Federal
to pay.
Way is a nice area outside, you know, suburb of Seattle. You know, you're going to pay a bit of a premium to get this type of property.
Yeah.
It's still cheaper. You're not going to see this property for sale for $300,000, you know, on Realtor.com or Zillow or anything, because it would sell like that, you know. I mean,
no, you're not going to find any kind of a deal
discount.
like that. You know, even a bank, even banks, when they try to sell off the properties that they have done their bank foreclosures on, really they're just trying to get into new hands without losing too much capital. You know, they're not really about giving away any money.
Yeah, and most of the time the bank foreclosures, the reason they're foreclosing is not because the person has a ton of equity in it. The reason they're foreclosing on is because
they're upside down.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's because they don't have any options. So let's see now, with I think pretty well covered everything here. Let me just make sure we're not skipping any. Yeah, I don't think we're skipping anything here. Okay, good. Well, listen, if we're happy to have everybody here with us, joining us. You're always welcome to come back. If you'd like to join, the membership is $30 a month. You can sign up on taxsalesupport.com. Or, you know, if you have questions or inquiries, you want to find out more about coaching or anything like that, we've also got places that you can. Where should we direct them for that?
Just have them go to the website.
Yeah.
You know, that everything is on the website. As far as you're interested in the membership program, like Shade said, it's $29.95, $30 a month. You can cancel at any time, and we're also offer a 30-day money-back guarantee, because we know that as far as, you know, getting education is concerned, you're not going to find a better value. We've positioned this, we've created it to make it hands down the best value in tax sale education, as far as a home study program with additional support. We do
plus all the lists. You know,
we do live webinars each
week.
You know, so I mean, it's really the best value. So that would be the first step. And if you enjoy the membership program and interested in coaching at that point, would, you know, have you fill out the coaching profile, and we could have somebody contact you.
Yeah, whatever you do, don't go drop big bucks with some big seminar company out there. You know, because we think we can probably help you do more for a lot less. You know, we'd rather see you take that money and invest it. So. Hey, thanks again for joining us, and yeah, let us know if there's anything if you have any questions. You're certainly welcome to email us. Let us know, and we'll do whatever we can to get back to you. And we'll have a replay of this available as well.
Yeah, thank you again, and hopefully we'll talk to you guys soon.